Today we have a very special guest with us, Umar Daud Khattak, Mission Commander of Pashtunistan Liberation Army, a lone warrior fighting against the atrocities which Pakistani army commit against its own citizens. A man who has been forced to live in exile by Pakistan government. A man who left his family to serve the cause of Pashtun people whom he claimed to represent. A man who has sacrificed his youth to fight against the injustice. A very warm welcome, Mr. Umar Daud Khattak, in our show.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Umar, as we know, you have been coming to India since last 2 years for lobbying diplomatic support. Can you please tell us about Pashtunistan Liberation Movement?
Pashtunistan Liberation Movement is a historical movement. It dates back to the 16th century when Shaurya Khattak for the first time took arms against Aurangzeb. So we fought against Mughals, and then we fought against the British people, and then finally today we are fighting against the Punjabi state, Pakistan. We were part of Afghanistan, and the British people split it off the mainland Afghanistan. Since today Afghanistan government is too weak, so I'm here to seek the support of the Indian government for the liberation of Pashtunistan against Pakistan.
Do you feel that the Pashtunistan Liberation Movement, Baluchistan Freedom Movement, and Sindhu Desh Freedom Movement has not been given proper attention by the international community, and the world turned a blind eye towards the serious human rights violations Pakistan is committing in these regions? Why do you think that the world media fails to make a headline out of these atrocities by Pakistan?
You know, Pakistan is a project of the Western world, so definitely they have to protect it. The freedom movements are the separatist movements inside Pakistan. The Western media is not giving attention because it is their satellite state. Pakistan is their satellite state. The second thing is Pakistan has no press freedom. These areas are cordoned off by Pakistan military, and no journalist is allowed to enter these areas to report. The third thing is, generally it is a trend in the world that the media is pro-Islamist and pro-terrorist. They don't report anything which is against terror, but they do report things which are creating terrorism, like the freedom movements you can see in Kashmir or Palestine, which are fake freedom movements. They're giving much attention to these fake freedom movements, but turning a blind eye on the real freedom movement going on inside Pakistan. And one other thing that I will add, that when a Muslim kills a Muslim, it doesn't make a headline. When a non-Muslim kills a Muslim, it makes a headline.
On a comparative front, what do you think about Philistine Freedom Movement and Kashmir Freedom Movement, which is often sought after and is sympathized by the world media, compared to the Pashtunistan Liberation Movement, which is seldom raised by the world media?
I wonder why people make comparison between Pashtunistan or Balochistan freedom movement with Palestine and Kashmir. The war going on in Kashmir and Palestine is religion driven. They are fighting against legitimate states, and we are fighting against rogue state, which is Pakistan. And our war is a national liberation war. Religion cannot define a national identity. Religion cannot define a geography, a history. We have a history, we have a geography, we have a Pashtun national identity. So we are fighting for our own rights. We are not fighting for religion. So there's a clear difference. War in Kashmir and Palestine are fought by terrorists against legitimate states. But in Pashtunistan and Balochistan, we are fighting against terror. They're creating terrorism and we are fighting against terrorism. So there is, a clear difference between the two.
You are fighting against Pakistan government and Pakistan military establishment. Pakistan always boasts itself for being a nuclear state. Does it bother you? And do you think that Pakistan might use its nuclear to curb the separatist movement growing there?
You know, Pakistan is a nuclear black market, and the whole world should put an end to this dangerous, or you can say, South Asian virus in this region. It can use its nuclear weapon against anyone, not only against Pashtuns or Balochs. Of course, they have been using nuclear weapon at short ranges in Balochistan and Pashtunistan even now. And they use chemical weapons against innocent Pashtun civilians. And there are a lot of victims, so many victims in Waziristan which are hardly reported by media.
Mr. Umar, now we would like to know about the role of the elected government in Pakistan. Does it have any stake in the internal affairs?
You know, ISI in army is the boss in Pakistan. Pakistan government is the government of the war terrorist, not the civilian people. Any government which civilian elect it doesn't have any say in the affairs of Pakistan, but the international terrorists, which is going to higher ranking in Pakistan Army and ISI, they control the state.
Umar, we have seen countries like Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria getting destroyed due to the Islamic extremism. Do you feel that Islamic extremism is the most gravest concern the world is facing today?
Yes, of course. But the world is turning a blind eye on curbing Islamic extremism because the world is not supporting the secular freedom movements in the Muslim countries like Pashtunistan freedom movement, Sindh Desh freedom movement, Balochistan freedom movement, Kurdistan freedom movement. They're not supporting, but instead they're supporting the Islamists, the ISIS, the Taliban, and the Mujahideen. So they are specifically the NATO countries in the NATO coalition, they're supporting the Islamist forces in the Muslim countries against the secular forces which are trying to curb and contain the growing Islamic extremism in the Muslim world. So it's one of the most grave concerns of this world, even worse than nuclear weapons or other dangerous weapons in the world. With the inception of Pakistan, Islamic extremism is on the rise, and the world terrorists are looking towards Pakistan for safe havens. It oppresses and suppresses the national identities and national cultures which are forcefully faxed together under the fake Pakistani state.
Umar, how difficult is the life of the civilians in the conflict areas such as Balochistan, Pashtunistan, and Waziristan under the tyranny of Pakistan military?
Life of civilians is totally destroyed, so almost no one can live there, specifically in Waziristan and tribal areas. Pakistan Army is using heavy weapons, artillery, tanks, bulldozers, and even their F-16 jet fighters. They are carpet bombing whole villages. They are evacuating people in large numbers, in millions, not even in thousands, but in millions. Almost 2 million people have been displaced and 500,000 people have escaped to Afghanistan. So they're killing indiscriminately.
Umar, Pakistan always claims that it is fighting against the terrorists in Waziristan area. We would like to know about the ground realities there. That is there any truth in the claims of Pakistan government?
Look, since 2001, Pakistan Army has been receiving $800 million from US government to fight against terrorism. And what they have been doing is to create terrorism. They have installed terror infrastructure in Waziristan and tribal agencies. They have set up safe havens for international terrorists, and they have evacuated the local population from Waziristan and tribal agencies. What they do is to bombard civilians. They have been bombarding civilians and evacuating the people, the innocent people. 2 million people have been displaced and about 500,000 people have escaped to Afghanistan. But until now, they cannot name a single low-profile terrorist which they have killed. And they have killed 200,000 innocent civilians, but not a single low-profile terrorist. They have used 11,600 bombs, according to their own data, according to their former Chief Air Marshal Qamar Suleiman. He said that they have used 11,600 bombs and 5,600 airstrikes they have done on 4,600 locations. But they could not kill a single low-profile terrorist. This is the ground reality. And apart from that, they are taking minor girls to use in the flesh trade in the Lahore prostitution industry, and they are doing such black businesses as well. Apart from their nuclear black market, and they've been using chemical weapons against the people of Waziristan, and there have been so many victims. And there are no reports because no one can get into the heavily cordoned off area, and no one is allowed to enter and report from the ground.
Umar, you have been coming to India to gather the Indian support for your movement. But the question is, how crucial is the Pashtunistan freedom for India? Why India should help you in your movement?
Look, as a legitimate state, India has the moral responsibility to support any secular movement, any secular liberation movement which fights against terror, which fights against international terror. And the second thing is that Pakistan has turned Waziristan into a global hub of international terrorism. So Waziristan can now be named as global terrorist capital because Pakistan Army has installed terror infrastructure and terror factories there from where they export terror and terrorism to the global community. And the religious insurgency that India is facing in Kashmir basically emanates and originates from those terrorist breeding factories which Pakistan has installed in Fateh and Waziristan. So if Pashtunistan got freedom, so we have to remove and destroy all those terrorist safe havens, and we will establish a secular Pashtun government, and there will be no threat not only to the India but the whole world of religiously inspired terrorism.
Umar, we wish you very best in your mission and we hope you do succeed in making a free Pakistan. Is there any message you would like to give to the Indian government?
Our great grandfather Ghaffar Khan told Gandhi that you have thrown us to the walls. And since that day, we are looking to India that when we will get rid of these walls. And I hope someone like Indira Gandhi, the Iron Lady of India, comes and teach Pakistan a lesson that all the occupied nations are freed. So I ask the Indian government to support the secular Pashtunistan liberation movement and Balochistan liberation movement to put an end to the global terror factory, which is Pakistan.
Thank you, Mr. Umar Daud, for interviewing with the Charticle. We wish you very best for your future endeavors.
Thanks for the invitation.